When Diddy's arrest hit the news last September, Katt Williams didn't miss a beat. He posted an AI mashup of Diddy's mugshot superimposed on Wesley Snipes from New Jack City, captioned, "Diddy's about to snitch on everyone." The internet ate it up. Fans chimed in. If anyone's flipping, it's Diddy. But Katt wasn't just trolling. He was planting seeds. Think back to his old podcast rants. He casually name-dropped stars like Tyler Perry, Steve Harvey, Ricky Smiley, and Ludacris. At the time, it felt like petty shade. Now, names like Jay-Z, Aaron Hall, and Harv Pierre are turning up in court documents tied to Diddy. Maybe Katt wasn't joking after all. Maybe he was dropping breadcrumbs. And now, comedy is colliding with a criminal scandal, one punchline at a time.
Club Shay Shay, yeah. I was trying to do something there that hadn't been done. I thought that I had figured out the algorithm mathematically, and I thought that I could show that. And when I wrote it out to kill the careers of the people I was talking about, right? But it was so vicious that I erased all of the knockout blows and just left the jabs so that the comic I'm talking about knows that I know your real story. I'm going to tell this, but you know what else I know. So, yeah, I was...
Do you want to tell any of those stories now?
Well, I've had to turn down $50 million 4 times just to protect my integrity and that virgin hole I was telling you about. Right. Because P. Diddy be wanting to party. All of these big dick deviants is all catching hell in 2024. It's up for all of them. It don't matter if you Diddy or whoever you is. T.G. Jakes, any of them. All lies will be exposed. That's all. And anyone who takes that the wrong way, know why they take it the wrong way.
So Katt Williams said it. The lawsuit started coming out right after he said it, and he said all would be exposed. He heavily implied, and this is again an allegation, that Lucien Grange was having some sort of a homosexual relationship with Diddy. So he is the person that controlled Diddy, that Lucien Grange was aware of these parties, that Universal Music Group was aware of these parties. Essentially, that Diddy is the thug and the gangster working on behalf of Lucien Grange. They did not know that he was recording them. I mean, when I read through that lawsuit, Rodney made it very clear that he had hidden cameras. And if you are a person like LeBron who says ain't no party like a Diddy party, you've got Ashton Kutcher talking about what happens at Diddy parties stays at Diddy parties. And finally you learn via the press that actually Diddy has been collecting evidence on all of you, and you don't know where those tapes are. That will buy your silence for quite some time, because you're hoping that if you keep your head low, you're not going to be revealed as one of these people that was engaged in some of these acts, whether they were heterosexual or homosexual, it doesn't matter. Maybe you're just cheating on your wife and you don't want that to get out into the public. Maybe you were, as Katt Williams described it, in one of the rooms. He said you could just walk around the house. He said this on stage years ago, that you could walk around the house and you would see people engaged in various sex acts. And again, Katt Williams was someone who was dismissed as crazy and dismissed as a drug addict. And it turned out that, or it seems that if these allegations are proven to be true, and I believe they are, then he was telling the truth.
Do you think that like stars and get offered that kind of thing, like to compromise themselves sexually for entertainment?
I was as shocked as anybody about how powerful Harvey Weinstein was at the time that I was meeting with him, and how he could not be told no. You follow what I'm saying?
They'll figure out some way.
Right. So I thought that didn't apply to me because I don't care about nothing but bitches and good business, right? In these scary situations, I don't even leave it up to me. Like, I'm going to do what the superhero would do in this part of the movie, regardless.
That's a good way to think about things in general.
That started with Tyler Perry. At first, it just sounded like a comedian taking cheap shots, like when he joked that Perry can't play a man to save his life. But beneath the laughs was a hidden truth. Back when Perry was hustling his first indie scripts, guess who stepped in to help? Diddy's team. They quietly funded his debut films, organized premieres in LA and New York, and made sure VIPs showed up for early screenings. These behind-the-scenes moves didn't make the tabloids, but they're in the fine print Perry might. Never say it out loud, but Diddy's fingerprints are all over his rise in Katt. He wasn't just clowning. He was connecting the dots.
I heard that you bought a military base in Alabama. Is that true? A military base?
As starving comedians would do.
Now, I don't know if you're being truthful or not. Did you really buy one?
Yeah, Fort McClellan. Yeah,
What?
because the reason why like my life works in golf and off the golf course is because I follow instruction well, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if I see somebody do a good job, I just want to do a good job.
Yeah.
I'm going to follow the example.
Yeah.
Right? So Tyler Perry got a military base.
That's correct.
Made it into a movie studio and started making movies. Katt Williams.
Bought a military base. They making movies?
I'm not wearing dresses.
At what point in Tyler Perry's career was he Samuel L. Jackson or Denzel Washington? Which are the only two black men I can think of that never had a dress on.
Yeah, but I don't think it's
At what point, it is about that. It is about that. Because he's the only black man that we already established has $1 billion from making movies. He's the only black man with his own studio. But he's also putting out material where he got a goddamn dress on every year.
Because
Every time you turn around, at every iteration of his success, be it the plays that took over and got him popular, be it the shit that he did on TBS, be it the first movies that he did, be it the movies that he does now. So what is his excuse for doing Madea content now?
because there's an audience for it.
There's an audience for it.
There is an audience.
There's an audience for it.
There is an audience.
Tyler Perry told his male actors they're not allowed to consort with me because I saw you at a Diddy party, Tyler. And you were having a glorious time. I spent a lot of time in Miami and I snuck around Star Island quite a bit. I know Christian isn't lying, but I need him to tell me what happened to my friends. And I don't care how long it's been since I talked to them. They will always be my friends. Always. Tim and Durrett and Lamont Rucker were not the same after they went on camera with Tyler Perry. Christian, I think you could tell me more.
Next up, Ricky Smiley. He got his first real taste of the industry at Diddy's exclusive Atlanta parties, invite-only events where Puffy's crew controlled the guest list like a velvet rope. Mafia Ricky made it past the gatekeepers. From there, he landed radio gigs. Then a hit TV show, Katt joked that Ricky only shines in a dress. A jab, sure, but also a clue. Because behind the comedy is a pattern. Ricky's rise didn't start. On the mic, it started with Diddy's connections, and once again, Katt wasn't just being petty. He was pulling back the
in my contract that I won't work with Ricky Smiley again unless he's in a dress. Now, what was Ricky Smiley's next movie? Was it First Sunday? Did he wear a dress in it? You bet he did. It's in my contract.
Why would you put that in your contract, Katt?
That's where he's a believable actor. Him and Tyler Perry can't play a man to save their life. They play good women, and I believe that the best actor should be in the best role.
But when you reported a long time ago that James mysteriously got sick, it was serious, and they looked at it as allegedly did. But how do you, when you reported that back then months ago, did you say, oh yeah, in your report? Yep, they were saying that Diddy, because Diddy and Jamie Foxx were good friends. And they broke up, they stopped being friends. And those areas I couldn't know, I'm telling what they said. Very honest, very all they that way. They can wait on the Lord. All right, y'all, we're going to wrap up the house.
I Googled you to see what are the questions that people are wanting to know. Is Ricky Smiley married?
No.
Have you ever been married?
I was married.
Oh,
I was married for 12 years.
when?
No, I was married
Did I know you?
back in the 90s. I think we probably had met and had been around each other, but my ex-wife, we were still close. She was a flight attendant for those.
Oh, okay.
And we was married, we was young, and I was married for 12 years.
Wow.
She's beautiful.
And y'all broke up after 12 years because.
You guys started doing street stuff.
Oh!
Oh no. Steve Harvey and Cedric the Entertainer aren't off the hook either. Katt's shots at them made headlines, accusing Steve of stealing a TV show idea and Cedric of lifting one of his best jokes 2 decades ago. On the surface, it's classic comedy beef, but dig deeper. And there's a pattern. Both men have long-standing ties to Diddy. They've stood beside him at charity galas funded by Bad Boy. They've hosted events that raised millions for education and youth programs, and every time they thanked Diddy on stage, they weren't just showing gratitude. They were reinforcing a powerful connection. Those big smiles and champagne toasts at lavish galas, they're snapshots of a hidden network of influence the public rarely sees. And once again, Katt was pointing straight at it.
I am 25. It's good to see so many funny people together in one room, all wondering the same thing. Is Katt Williams going to show up? Shit, I'm nervous as hell right now. Yeah. Oh, he's right there. I didn't know he was right there. I'm allowed to say that if I say that. I'm not used to quiet, introspective Katt Williams.
No.
Well, let me ask you this. When have you ever seen this many heavy hitters all together at the same time? In the same room. Yeah.
Now to talk about another story making headlines today.
Yeah, so this one is actually sparked by these pictures. That's 49-year-old P. Diddy with his hand on his girlfriend's belly. Now that is 22-year-old Lori Harvey. They're in Cabo. She's, of course, talk show host Steve Harvey's stepdaughter. People are talking about maybe she could be pregnant. You know, he's rubbing her belly a little bit, but
She's put up some Instagrams, I think, that show some clues. Sushi, right? Sushi, a bad thing for pregnancy.
it could go either way. But then also she posted this picture of green juice, which, you know, why would you want a flatter tummy if you really can't avoid it because you're carrying a child?
Ooh, this is conflicting evidence. Okay. Lori was once actually linked to Diddy's son, Justin.
Okay.
Okay, so they were together and then engaged a couple of years ago to a Dutch soccer player. She told Carissa Thompson about how he popped the question.
We were in Malibu. I remember the
Were you
time. It was
freaking out?
11:30. I thought it was a joke. And then he went in his pocket and I started shaking.
They split up later on that year. Lori and Sean were actually spotted with her dad, Steve, on a boat in Italy earlier on this summer.
That's all. Well, then that's it. He's given the blessing.
It even reaches inside the church walls. Bishop T.D. Jakes once preached at a gospel concert, sponsored by Diddy's team, a night that looked more like an album release than a worship event. Platinum seats, velvet ropes, press walls, it was faith wrapped in full-blown celebrity. Behind the hymns sat Music XX, influencers, and VIPs handpicked by Bad Boy's PR squad. Katt name-dropped Jakes as one of the major figures set to be exposed. It raised eyebrows, but it fits the pattern. Diddy's empire didn't just touch music and media. It blurred the lines between pop culture and the pulpit, wrapping it all under one dark, twisted umbrella. And once again, Katt was calling it out before the rest of us saw it coming.
On that list. And, you know, Katt Williams, I don't know if he's a Christian or not. I don't think he is. His mouth would say maybe he's maybe has faith, but he's bearing fruits of repentance. But that podcast got, well over millions and millions of views because he just blasted the industry. And basically the whole thing is your career's here. If we give you money and you join in on this debauchery, you join in on this sodomy, you join in on this pedophilia, you join in on these rituals, your career will go from here to here. And that's actually been seen if you look at a lot of different careers, including Taylor Swift's. She actually started rubbing shoulders with P. Diddy a long time ago, and then all of a sudden her career changed.
We also know that TDJ is allegedly also a power bottom. And he's a much older man. And they say he's very enthusiastic in his endeavors. What happens when he pops something loose? You know what I'm saying?
It's funny because they're mentioning sex workers, but they're not mentioning women. They're mentioning men as sex workers.
Yeah.
Like, is that a thing where like there's a website? It's just wild to hear like you mentioned.
You never heard of Grindr?
I personally am not that as well.
Why don't nobody ever talk about the fact that TD Cakes has an account allegedly on Grindr?
Then there's ludicrous Katt linked him to the Illuminati, joking that only a secret society could hand out a $200 million contract. It sounds wild, part myth, part stand-up bit. But strip away the conspiracy, and the real connections are crystal clear. Luda and Diddy have shared hits on each other's albums, co-headlined festivals, and taken the stage together at Biggie tribute shows. These aren't coincidences. They're signs of a bond built over decades in the industry. Katt wraps it in mystery, but the facts speak for themselves. You don't need secret symbols to see the alliance.
He turned down $50 million 4 times to protect his integrity and his virgin hole.
No, he didn't. He did that. He did that to say that Kevin Hart took $50 million to unvirgin his hole.
Can you explain a little bit?
No, I just told you what happened with that.
So you don't believe Katt when he says that he turned down $50 million for?
No, I believe that was a punch at what he did, what Kevin Hart did for that movie Get Hard. He showed y'all what he did. He sucked Will Ferrell's to get hard. So now he's acting all hard. Every picture he just short. He wasn't ready. All that. It's the same thing.
I said it, and this sums it up well. Like you don't entertain the circus, you watch it, right? And when a lion comes out and rides the bike, you don't think about it too hard. You just go, okay, that's crazy. The lion's riding the bike, and then you go home and enjoy the rest of your day. I don't feed into the stuff at all. At the end of the day, it's all entertainment to a certain degree. So you just hope that people can be smart enough and have a tremendous amount of logic to just go and possibly do research or fact check. And if they do, then great. If they don't, then kudos to that as well. I just don't have the time for it. There's too much going on.
In my opinion, one of the ones that affects me the most is Justin Bieber. Do you have the Kevin Hart one? Which is odd, Pat, because he gets caught saying that he would wake up next to him and then he changes it and says, we would fight off over the Frosted Flakes. Even Kevin Hart is uncomfortable because you're admitting that you were sleeping next to a freaking child. And it's like, I'm tired of hearing all these stories and people just laugh about it. We giggle it. This is right here.
It's my brother right here from day one. We used to wake up and, pause. I mean, back in the days when he was like 10 and I was
10 years
a little bit older, his older brother, we used to fight over the Frosted Flakes. You know what I'm saying? Before pause was invented. You know what I'm saying? But it's my brother for real. We used to actually wrestle off of the Frosted
Wake up till Usher.
He used to always get up early. Now he's the richest star in the world.
Yo, what the fuck did Puff just say? Nobody's gonna acknowledge this with me. So Puff just said we used to wrestle over the Frosted Flakes, and we're streaming live.
Justin Combs, Diddy's son, didn't escape the spotlight either. He was accused of organizing wild parties where underage girls were allegedly present. Federal agents raided his home and took him out in handcuffs. No charges were ever filed, but the message was clear: the investigation was getting closer to home.
No, so we were both invited to an Illuminati thing. One of us had to cut off all their hair and couldn't do the sideburn thing no more with the points. And the next person they said was going to get $200 million because they were going to pay him $10 million a movie to do 20 movies. And that's how the conversation happened. One of those persons turned out to be Ludacris, and the other person turned out to be Katt Williams. I didn't get it. I'm not mad about it.
How much money they give? 200,
sir. Fast and Furious on what number, right?
10.
Did you start to worry any about your own safety and stuff?
Well, what it was that I was attempting to do was impossible. So before I do this interview, there is no Illuminati. It's just a joke. It's just something that crazy people talk about. There's no such thing as our side and God's side. None of that is even real. I gotta come and make it real. So that's why when I said that, nobody came out and went, that's not true. I'm on God's side. If part of the ritual is wearing a dress, then we should be able to look through entertainment and see all of these people being made to wear a dress.
Yeah, you don't see the dog catcher show up every other year.
I guess not.
In a nice skirt, or you don't see an electrician.
These aren't just rumors or internet conspiracies, and they're backed by court documents, federal indictments, and sworn statements. As these cases head to trial in May 2025, every name connected to the Diddy Combs empire reveals just how far and how deep this web stretches. Whether these celebrities knew exactly what they were part of, or just ended up in the wrong place at the wrong time, one thing is clear. When Katt Williams says he's exposing everyone in Diddy's circle, he's not just ranting, he's pulling from the same legal filings that paint a damning picture of alleged misconduct. And now, the jokes don't feel so funny. They feel like warnings we missed next.
Like this, obviously, you're not making any kind of a dynamic entry. This isn't a hostage situation, right? Where that's not what's happening here. However, they did know that there would be weapons there, armed security, those kinds of things. That's why you saw those warrants being served by, for the most part, a tactical SWAT team. That is procedure to keep everyone safe. A lot of people were frustrated when they saw the video that came out of the warrant, that his home was, in, I guess, disarray. But again, and I had said this before, my gut said they were looking for digital evidence, which is in that indictment. There's a lot of mentions to digital evidence. And that's why they tore up couch cushions. That's why they made holes in walls. They were looking for flash drives, tiny devices, where these things were stored. And so all of that is done methodically. It's all cataloged. And in a case like this, where you're not necessarily rushing, to put out a fire or something like that, it was all done in a very methodical way. You typically go through room by room to catalog all of that evidence.
The federal indictment of Sean Diddy Combs has been unsealed. His charges: stalking, racketeering, and transportation to engage in prostitution.
Combs allegedly planned and controlled the sex performances, which he called freak-offs, and he often electronically recorded them. In addition to the violence, the indictment alleges that Combs threatened and coerced victims to get them to participate in the freak-offs. He used the embarrassing and sensitive recordings he made of the freak-offs as collateral against the victims.
The indictment also alleges the 54-year-old maintained control over his victims in several ways, including by giving them drugs, giving and threatening to take away financial support or housing, promising career opportunities, monitoring their whereabouts, and even dictating physical appearance.
The rapper Jay-Z has been accused of raping a 13-year-old girl in 2000, allegedly along with Sean Diddy Combs. Our US correspondent Martha Kellner has the latest from Los Angeles.
This civil suit was originally filed back in October against Sean Combs, better known as P. Diddy. It has now been amended to also include allegations against Jay-Z, whose real name is Sean Carter. In this civil suit, a woman says that when she was a 13-year-old girl back in the year 2000, that she attended an after party for the MTV Video Music Awards, during which she says she was raped by Jay-Z and P. Diddy. She says that Jay-Z removed her clothes, pinned her down and raped her while P. Diddy and an unnamed female celebrity watched on. She says she was then raped by P. Diddy as Jay-Z and this female celebrity watched on once.
Justin Combs, you've been indicted with your dad. Now, ain't that something, God? Ain't that something? How LeBron, right, and his son would be the first father-son to play a game in the NBA, and P. Diddy and his son will be the first father and son to get indicted and go to federal prison for messing with little boys. Ain't that about something? The apple don't fall too far from the tree, y'all, man. And I tell you all the time, man, you have to watch what you do around your kids because they're watching everything. And in his case, man, he watched what his dad did, and his dad allowed him to do these things with him. But hey, man, he was named in that indictment yesterday with those 120 people. You dig what I'm saying? 25 of them being minors. But that's kind of crazy that a younger man would love a minor. But hey, man, I hope they was using condoms.
About 30 different law enforcement vehicles at least. There are 3 Bearcats on scene here. This just all unfolded, Sandra, I would say, less than 10 minutes ago. We got here even before the crime scene tape came up. So we're just down the hill. If you look up this street where Tony is right now to the right, you'll see one of those Bearcats and law enforcement. And on the other side of those bushes, basically, is that home that is registered to Bad Boy Films.
If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button. If not, feel free to hit dislike. Either way, drop a comment below and don't forget to subscribe with notifications on so you never miss an update. I'm Your Name Justice Executed, and I'll see you next time.